The sales robots have taken over, and they're decimating deals left and right, destroying them right in their tracks. On the AI for Sales podcast, our mission is to empower everyday sellers to embrace AI superpowers to build new bridges and crush quota. Dr. Joel Abon said it best in the AI for Sales book. In sales, time kills deals. In AI for Sales, AI kills time. Join our hosts as we learn from the C-suite of the world's fastest growing companies about how you can leverage AI today to transform your sales revenue engine while being the best version of you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another AI for Sales podcast. Apparently the number 2 rated podcast for AI in sales and now AI in marketing. And I'm here today with a friend of mine that I've known for a decade or more, I would say, and that's Matt Millen. Matt is the co-founder of Regie AI. They called themselves .ai before .ai was cool, just like BDR.ai. So I'm so excited to be here because I know a lot has happened since 2019, 2020, before generative AI really was a thing. And I can't wait to dig in with Matt. So Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Chad. So good to be with you again, and always like hanging out with you.
Well, you never know which stone we're going to uncover here today. So before we get into the AI fun that we're about to talk about, I like to help our audience connect with you by understanding kind of where'd you grow up? What was your passion? I remember at an event you presented, it had to do with race cars. So I have to assume that's got to be in your childhood somewhere, or you wouldn't have brought race cars to that event I was at.
Yeah, that's good. You know, I grew up super poor, single family, welfare. So I was the kid that used to dream about cars as a kid. And I got a chance after college to start autocrossing. From there, I went into road racing, ended up in desert trucks for a couple of years in Southern California. But I would say, you know, cars influenced me as a child, super impacted me as a young adult. And I would say, relevant to this conversation, it taught me a lot about selling. I always said there's more bad luck than good luck on a racetrack. And when you get into sales, I think you find out that there's more bad luck than good luck, or more uncontrollables than controllables in sales, and a lot of valuable lessons.
I love it. I've got 2 companies competing for my business right now for a $15,000 to $30,000 deal. And the one who listens is going to be the one who wins. And it's quite simple. And either company would probably love to have a $15,000 or a $30,000 deal. One's going to listen, one's not. They're pretty close in what they offer. So pretty interesting. You're exactly right. So help me understand. I love to look at AI first from a 30,000 foot view, because since you've been living in the trenches around Regie.ai, you've probably met with and talked to other co-founders who are solving very unique problems in the world. What are a problem or two that you see AI being able to solve that's so exciting for you from where you're standing?
Yeah, I think let's go back in time for a minute, just like to box this. So I started selling in 1987. No such thing as corporate email, no such thing as the internet. My tool stack was a desk phone and a fax machine. So what you start to see is, with all the infusion of technology into the selling process, there's 2 patterns that emerge over time. One pattern is the problems that the technology solves. The second is the pattern that the technology creates, the problems that gets created by technology. And when I was leading revenue at Outreach, for the first time in my career, content became a problem for the modern sales rep. And this was mind-boggling to me, like content. And really on a couple different legs. Like leg number 1, we got reliant on templated emails in a sequence. So someone had to figure out the magic and the mystery of creating that for engagement. And then at the same time, like reps stopped personalizing emails because we relied on all these templated messages at the time. And it became like a people problem to solve content. And back then, like I knew there had to be a better way to leverage content. Now AI is here. So like if we think like, so fast forward, what can AI do for us today? We can use this smartly almost everywhere in some capacity. You are seeing, whether it's very specific, vertically oriented solutions in disciplines like sales, marketing, ops, whatever it may be, to very creative people coming up with hacks on ChatGPT or Chat PDF and others. So I think what we're seeing, like our imagination and our curiosity is the boundary of where we can be leveraging AI today and tomorrow.
I was just on a Bible study with a group of 5 different entrepreneurs, and a guy said at the very end of the call, he said, yeah, I'm launching tomorrow my new AI for getting people on podcasts. It reads all the podcasts, it notices where the competition is mentioned, and then it helps you get in front of that audience, tells you what to talk about. It does all of the heavy lift to get you on the right podcast at the right place at the right time. And it's an AI powered. I was like, fantastic. Come on the AI for Sales show. We can talk about it. But yeah, there's so many different things that can happen. What do you think the business benefits are to, you think of the CRO, market share, market size, a VP of sales, I need to grow my revenue and decrease my costs. What are the levers that AI can solve for a business?
And at the highest level, I would think that it does like 2 things. One, it makes us go faster, and we can break that down. And then 2, it makes us be better. So AI allows us to be both better and faster. Better, like the kind of content that we're using, the leads that we're engaging in, like all the work that goes in to set it up, because we can be more refined, more exact, more targeted. Like we're highly productive and we're better. And then we can go faster because the AI is taking a lot of these redundant tasks. Like if I can write a 20-minute email in seconds, well, I've saved a bunch of time, and I can either do more of those high value tasks or spend that time somewhere else. So like we can go faster, better.
Faster, better. I love it. Dr. Joel Laban, have you ever heard him talk? He always says, in sales, time kills deals. In AI for sales, AI kills time. And so that's talking about the faster component. The better for him when he did the analysis is around building trust. And he looked at, where's the human still required and where's AI required? The gray area was, can a bot actually build trust? Well, yeah. And the knee jerk is no way. Well, let me tell you why. One of my values as a seller is when I follow up with an email and I've heard you talk and I recap your 5 things that you told me. And now if I pull in the 10Q report and I, bring in a quote from your CEO and I do it all in 10 seconds with a button, and I religiously stay in front of you every couple of days, right? Like there is automation that can help you build trust. And so there is a fine line between can a computer build trust. Your tool obviously helps solve better and faster. Talk to us more, if I was a 5-year-old, what would I need to know about Regie AI?
Yeah, I don't know how many 5-year-olds are out selling, but I certainly get the point. Look, at the highest level, Reggie's going to write your cadence or sequence, push it in your sales engagement platform. And then on any manual task where you're either writing an email, a LinkedIn touch, Reggie is actually providing that written content based on the persona of the prospect it's looking at, based on the threaded messaging of the sequence, your brand voice. All of it's in there, and it automatically writes that personalized message. So a 15 or 20-minute step is automatically served up, move on to the next task. So write the sequence, harmonize that to the personalization at point with each prospect as it comes up.
Wow. I think of my good friend Steve Richard, who was in the AAISP for as long as I have been. Yeah. And he always talks about 5x5 research, I think it is, or 3x3. Yeah.
3x3.
So 3 pieces of information in 3 minutes or less. Yeah. And when you train a large sales organization, as I've had 50 or 100 people, there's 2 or 3 that follow that religiously. And then usually what you see is the very first email of the sequence gets a 1-sentence personalization 10% of the time. And the rest is all templatized. So forcing the user on every step in the process, serving it up so that all they have to do is make an educated decision. I do agree the human in the loop matters. When we first rolled some of this stuff out years ago, the company
Yeah.
was actually defunct now. But when we were using this a little bit ago, we sent out a note and it said to the CEO, "Okay, congrats, we saw your CEO in the news." And the CEO had passed away.
Ah,
That's the problem with
yeah,
fully automated
that's
personalization.
exactly right.
You need to have human in the loop, and that's where Regie AI gets it right.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Steve Richards, he's an advisor at Regie. We actually took his 3x3 workflow and brought it to life in AI. So in our Chrome extension, we literally walk you through the 3 personalization points, construct the email in under about 30 seconds. So
Wow.
if you want to spend a little bit more time, if you're account-based selling as an example, you want to be a little bit more involved in the research of your prospect, we recommend the 3x3 workflow as opposed to the rapid writer that just automatically generates the personalized message.
Got it. Thinking about, there's a couple of tools you've seen. Crystal knows, and
Yeah,
then there's another one out there that does something similar.
yeah.
Um, are you able to get to the granularity of the person, who they are? Do they want bullets or paragraphs or how it's written and all of that kind of thing?
Yeah, so interesting you say that. So one of the we were doing AI before AI was cool, and we were doing Regie before there was AI. So we've been at this for a little bit of time, and we've always found what we call the 3 Ps of the highest importance: the buyer persona, the pain point or problem that you're solving, and then the value proposition, why you. And then in that buyer persona, a lot of that was driven by understanding the personality and communication preferences of Chad Burmeister. So when I do get him on the phone for the first time, I know if he likes stories, should I get right to the point? Does he need facts and figures and data? And that's the old Crystal Knows. The old Crystal Knows would do that. So we have an AI component in our Chrome extension that every time a prospect comes up, we automatically generate personality profile overview and then communication do's and don'ts. So for instance, before you pick up the phone, it'll tell, just give you all of those tips and tricks. For me, iProspect, I use it. Also, when I'm about to join a meeting, I will run everybody in the meeting through that quick profile analyzer, and I'll get a sense of how to open the meeting, which examples to use, what to focus on. And it really helps me be more effective, especially as I'm meeting people for the first time and being effective in building rapport in the process.
Wow. I mean, just think back to the days you talked about, orders by fax and a phone book and a desk, when the PC and the computer was barely rolled out, the laptops, right? For the first time when I was at FedEx back in those
The
days.
luggables.
Man, a lot has changed. I remember trying to learn the personality types and we'd go through 3 weeks of training.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you kind of default, at least for me personally, I default back to who I am. I'm a driver and I'm going to think everyone else is like that. When you have the technology right in front of you and it's giving you the tools at your fingertips, it's like having a card counter and it's going to tell you the next hand, hey, don't hit. You've got a dealer has a 6 and so do you. Great. Don't hit.
That's great.
So I have to believe the odds go up. Talk to me a little bit about another customer is Objective Management Group, and they help you score the right people on the bus so that when they're using the technologies like Regie, they're more effective at them because under the iceberg, people's beliefs are a certain way. What's your perspective on the right person on the bus versus teaching them the skills? And I have mixed feelings on it, but I'd love from your perspective, do you need the A+ player anymore when you have AI tools like this for a B player?
No, look, this, like your A players will always be your A players and they don't necessarily conform to what everybody else is doing. It's like they're not the best ones to model. They're not the best ones to use as the example. They've got a certain gift, a certain way. And like, I hug them, I love them, but it's that next group that you really want to invest in that can follow the process. So I still think you need great people. What we're getting with the technology, AI, not AI, is I call it like sales is a crime scene and there's clues everywhere. And the idea is like, how much can I learn about the crime scene so I can like do the investigation. So it's the research process, the company, it's the individuals, and like if AI can help accelerate that, fantastic. But you still need to put it together. And I think the big decision, Chad, is this: at the end of the day, your brand as an organization, like, what do you want that face to be? Do you want your prospects interacting with a bot? Do you want your prospects interacting with a B player, an A player? What is that experience? And like, if you look at customer service over time as an example, at one point it was largely offshored for cost reasons. And then there was a lot of upheaval because it was perceived that service went down. And then a premium offering was bringing back your reshoring and onshoring your service again. Then we went to this, like having bots on the front end, more to do triage to make sure you got to the right place and kind of minimize some of that early waste. Great. And then there was a reliance on bots. Like if you're an Amazon Business Prime customer, you're not dealing with a human, and you could go back with an issue, and on the 30th time, it still thinks it's the first time, it's the same path, and you'd pay any amount of money for common sense. So I think you really got to think closely as we get into like, does AI replace us or augment us? It could be either. And it's a choice that organizations need to make based on how they want to be perceived in market.
I love that perspective. What you just shared is so important. And I go back to what I talked about earlier. The two companies who are trying to sell to me. One's a premium product, but a sub-premium rep. The other one is a slightly sub-premium product with a premium rep. And I say premium because she was so well trained, she had to have some kind of prompting, or she's just done it enough times. She asked every time, can we earn your business today if we do this? And she wasn't afraid, no fear.
I love that.
And it was just, and as a buyer, certain buyers might say, oh, I'm put off by that. But no, as long as they're meeting my needs, listening, understanding, recapping what they just heard, I'd so much rather have a human powered by AI.
That's right.
Than AI standalone, because you get the best of both worlds, right? Yeah. It's amazing what you just talked about. So let's talk a little bit about pre-AI. You said Regie was available. I like to get people thinking about the elephant in the room around, does it replace humans? Does it add jobs? How many employees does Regie have, if you're able to share that?
We have about 40 employees.
Okay, so how much of your company is reliant upon AI?
Well, we're split into two halves of the business. Like, we make stuff and we bring stuff to the world. And everyone falls into one of those two buckets. And in the bring stuff to the world bucket, where we live on Regie, we use Regie all day. We use it and we build out our features and then we bring them to market. So, we're technology first, and AI where it makes sense.
Right. So would Regie exist without AI? I think so, because you started the company. Yeah. But what impact would there be on the business if you didn't have AI at Regie?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, when I was at Outreach, I can't tell you the number of people that were trying to solve like the sequencing and the personalization challenges, given pre-AI technology with different algorithms and formulas. And, we did the same thing at early Regie. Regie used to be Regie.io before it was Regie.ai. And we tried to solve the content challenge. And we analyzed billions and billions of rows of what we called performant data. So we took sequences that were running, and we took all the positive replies and we analyzed the heck out of them. Who was the buyer persona? What was the messaging? What was the pain point? What was the value prop? And we started building out this repository of messaging that worked. And what customers could do with early Regie was you would plug in like who your buyer persona is, and that would dictate the tone of the messaging elements. The pain point and value prop. If you had one, great. If not, we would have the trending ones. And then we would bring together and sew together with our algorithms data that drove engagement. The challenge and by the way, we got customers and and it did exactly what it was supposed to do as far as it could do it. But, when you're relying on performance data, you're looking back to what worked before. And, in our market, best practices move very quickly. What worked yesterday can get very tired very quickly, very overplayed. So the beauty of the AI is it's now. Like, the big difference is you're not relying, you can analyze what was effective and understand that, but it's pulling recent now in the moment. And there's uniqueness all the time. And with the ability to prompt and to grab your brand voice, just the amount of robustness and like the contextual nature and the relevance of the messaging, you just can't create without the AI, at the scale it's needed.
If I get another one that says quick question, that's
Right.
one from about 18 to 20 years ago from predictable revenue. And to your point, if you look backwards, you're kind of customizing to a group also. I noticed that with
Exactly
the
right.
days, right?
We'll go there in a minute. We'll go there in a minute.
We would say monothematic themed lists. Say, hey, you're calling a CFO in this kind of tech company. So at least when they pick up, you're having a similar conversation 9 times out of 10. It gets you close to personalization.
That's right.
But close but no cigar. Now in a one-to-one world, it's constantly refreshing and it becomes much, much closer to true one-to-one personalization.
Yeah, I would argue the example you said doesn't get you to personalization. It gets you close to relevance.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you're doing is you're starting to associate relevant pain points or problem sets that someone in that position should be experiencing. So what you're really doing is you're getting relevancy, but no personalization. Like there's none. And that's where the beauty of the AI comes in, because I can match the relevancy with the personalization in real time at the email level inside a sequence. So templates get to go away. Like there's a couple like really big trends to pay attention to right now. And I would say trend number one, which you could say we're well into the shift, is we've gone from what's called simple automation, like your sales engagement platform, where the human being is making the decision and the technology is helping to execute, to advanced automation, where the machine now is making the decision and the human being is executing at the task level. This is a massive shift, and we're well down this, but like it's amazing, like the shift that we're going through, because we're moving away from like habits and bias to insights and data, and like the machine knows better. Like we just have to trust that. The other really big shift that we're probably closer to the forefront to, but we're pioneering through this, is that we're moving from content generation in AI to task execution in AI. And like this is a game changer. So let me just give you an example of what we've just launched, what we call autopilot, but it's basically dynamic sequencing. So in the past, Chad, you and I would be in a sequence, and we'd go through the 17 steps over 24 days. It doesn't matter if you're interested, not interested, engaged, not engaged, signals, no signals, past customer, close loss. None of that matters. Like you're going through the same steps I am, regardless. What Regie can do today is put all the prospects in. There is no 17-step sequence. What there is your engagement to that first step, which is a personalized email or whatever step we want it to be, but it's personalized, as every step is. And then based on your engagement or lack of, that then creates the next step or lack of. Now, what this allows the reps to do is to focus their time and energy and attention on only the most engaged prospects that are ready to engage. And for the ones that aren't, that would unsubscribe or opt out, leave them alone. Don't pummel on them. Leave them alone, ultimately get them back to nurture. But let's focus on the engaged ones that are getting underserved and not overserve the ones that don't care and value it. So what we're seeing is not only the right messaging, but the right actions and activities with the right messaging. And this is the next step of productivity and the next step of how we're leveraging AI to move forward.
Wow. I also think I love that. It's amazing. It's truly next level. What you've just articulated in this short 25 minutes is so impactful. Anyone who listens to this should listen to it again because there's a lot of business value here. Not even kidding. You rewind back to InsideSales.com days when that was all new speak out of Ken and Dave, and and then
Neurolytics.
came along. A lot of neat things, right? Cutting edge. This is the next cutting edge of what we're talking about in the world. If you're not playing in it, you're in the wrong sandbox.
That's right.
Full stop. So one thing that comes to mind is the big data players out there. I come from Connect and Sell. So to me, phone data is important. Did they pick up? So a feed I'd love to see in a Regie would be, hey, these are the picker-uppers. You should have a call step on them, which are only maybe 20%. The 80%, maybe you're just going to do a voicemail step, and you're not going to have 4 wasted steps of a human because it costs you $10 each time you call those wasted shots. Why spend $40 on someone who's never going to pick up your call?
Yes.
These are the kinds of things that will continue to work their way in the fold, and that's why we become subservient to the AI. I remember at an event, Pam Didner. Have you ever met her?
I know the name.
She is like the AI marketing queen, and she said, watch out. Over the coming years, we're going to need to decide who wears the pants in the AI family, and that's what you just talked about is the pancake flip. So I think let's talk for a minute, and I know I didn't give you the questions, but around ethics in AI. Has that come up for you in your customer conversations or how you drive the organization, or does it not need to be in your part of the world?
It doesn't come up. It comes up once in a while if I'm on a webinar panel. Like it'll come up as a thoughtful question. It doesn't come up practically in customer conversations. I will say this, again, we've been doing AI for a couple of years. Chat's been out 9 months or so. Pre-Chat GPT, a lot of the time I would have to help customers trust AI generated output because they weren't familiar with it. They weren't used to it. And a year ago, it wasn't as good as it is today. We train and tune all of our own models. So when you said, hey, quick question, we tune that out. Like we can't produce that. Like it just doesn't work. We just can't produce it. But since chat, like the world's changed because people have had an experience where they created a poem, a menu, whatever. And like most people have had some AI experience. So, there's more of an acceptance, a curiosity with the business application, but ethics, just to be straight with you, like does not come up on customer calls or sales calls.
Yeah, got it. I think
not that it's not important.
In other situations, it's more applicable. In the situation of sales outreach and client success outreach, it's just not going to apply as much. But hiring tactics and making corporate strategic decisions, and there's so many things that I believe there needs to be a chief ethics officer, a new CEO, ultimately that sits on top of major AI projects inside of major corporations. Otherwise, it could make some pretty bad decisions out there without a human in the loop, right?
That's a good point.
So, well, man, I've enjoyed this conversation. I have to say that the event that I went to when you were leading sales and you did the race car conversation, it was the favorite conference that I've ever been to. And I can only wait for the next big Regie AI conference. And I hope to be sitting in the back of the room and experience an event like you put on at that event.
Hopefully you'll be up on stage with us because you add so much value yourself, my friend.
Well, man, this has been amazing. If you haven't looked into Regie AI, if you're doing any kind of sales outreach whatsoever, client success outreach, I believe, is another very good category for reaching out. But why have people who aren't good at writing emails, who don't send them on time, don't have good grammar? Why have a sales, and I'm generalizing, but on the whole, I've run 100-person sales teams. I'd much rather have a team powered by AI with the human in the loop than a team manually writing emails, even if they're trying to use ChatGPT. That's going to spit out a 3-page email, and they're going to do it as a LinkedIn connection request. You got to partner with somebody that's smart like Regie AI. So,
Yeah, so
Matt,
good.
super having you on the call today. Thank you so much for sharing your insights of what you've learned over the last few years.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. And for the listeners, please connect with me on LinkedIn. And for anyone interested, you can download Regie AI for free. Just go to the website, and we give you a little bit of Regie every month for free.
There you go. A little bit of Reggie's better than none at all. That's for sure. Matt
You can
Millen,
also sign up for a lot.
Millen. We've been talking to co-founder of Regie.ai, REGIE.ai. Check them out. I'm getting my little bit of Reggie here when we hang out. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Hey, you made it this far in your AI for sales journey. Want to augment your sales growth? First, leave us a review and then visit www.scalex.ai to claim your free strategy session today.